I want you to think about something for a second. Imagine you have spent 4 years waiting for this moment. 4 years of training, 4 years of sacrifice, 4 years of watching what you eat, how you sleep, how you recover. Every single decision in your life pointed at one thing, one list, 26 names. And yesterday morning, you woke up, opened your phone, and your name was not on it. Just like that. 4 years, gone. Now imagine you or someone else. You played in the last World Cup final. You came off that bench with the whole world watching. You had the ball, you had the chance. One moment to become a legend forever. And you missed. But you carried that. You lived with that. You worked every single day to get back to that stage and make it right. And yesterday, Deschamps looked at everything you gave and decided it was not enough. That is not football analysis. That is a human being's dream being ended with a single phone call. And that is what happened yesterday when Didier Deschamps announced the official France squad for the 2026 World Cup. This was not a normal squad announcement. This was not a press conference. This was Deschamps sitting in that room knowing, and I mean truly knowing, that for some of these players, the call he was about to make would define the rest of their careers, their legacy, their identity as footballers. And he made those calls anyway, without blinking. Now I have watched France squads being announced for years. I've seen controversies. I have seen shock omissions. I have seen managers make bold calls and live to regret them. But something about this one felt different. Something about the silence in that room after certain names were read out, and certain names were not, felt heavier than usual. Like everyone in that room understood that this was not just a squad announcement. This was Deschamps writing the final chapter of his story. And he was not interested in a safe ending. Let me take you inside what actually happened. Kylian Mbappe, captain. Number 1, the man whose name goes first on the list and last in every defender's nightmare. But here is what I need you to understand about Mbappe before we talk about this World Cup. This man has just been through something that would have finished most people. An entire season at Real Madrid where the fans turned on him, where his name was booed in the stadium he dreamed of playing in since he was a child, where the dressing room fractured around him, where every performance was pulled apart and every mistake was amplified 100 times. I want you to think about what that does to a person, not a footballer, a person. A 26-year-old human being showing up to work every day knowing that 80,000 people in the stands are waiting for you to fail, knowing that the next morning the back pages are going to be brutal regardless of what you do. And through all of that, through every single bit of that noise and that pain and that pressure, he scored 43 goals. Not 10, not 20, 43. So now he arrives at a World Cup. Clean slate, blue shirt, 67 million people who believe in him completely. And a record sitting 5 goals away that has not been touched in over a decade. Miroslav Klose, 16 World Cup goals. The greatest total in the history of this tournament. A record built across 4 World Cups spanning 12 years of dedication. Mbappe can break it in 1, 5 goals. That is all that stands between Kylian Mbappe and footballing immortality. And when you look at what he has done at every single World Cup he has attended, 12 goals, a hat trick in a final, the kind of performances that make you forget you are watching a human being and not something else entirely. 5 goals does not feel like a target. It feels like a matter of time. The bookmakers have already made their decision. Nearly 20% of every World Cup winner bet placed anywhere on this planet right now is on France. Sportsbooks are cutting the odds. The money is relentless. And the people whose job it is to calculate risk are genuinely nervous. Because when you have Mbappe at this World Cup, in this mentality, with this much to prove, you are not looking at a footballer trying to win a tournament. You are looking at a man trying to settle a score with everyone who doubted him. But here's where I have to be honest with you. Because this is not just a story about Mbappe. This is a story about the people who are not here. Eduardo Camavinga sat somewhere yesterday and read that list, and his name was not on it. A player who wore this shirt at the last World Cup, a player who has given years to this setup, a Real Madrid player, whatever you think of his season, who has the quality to play at any World Cup on this planet, gone. I have been thinking about this since the announcement dropped, and I cannot find a clean football explanation for it. Deschamps said the criteria is form and performance. Fine. But Camavinga's performances were not poor. They were not the problem. So I keep coming back to the same question. What happened that we are not being told? Because the silence from the French Football Federation is not the silence of people who have nothing to say. It is the silence of people who have too much to say and are choosing not to. And that silence tells you everything. Then there is Randall Kolo Muani. And I want you to really feel this one. Extra time. 2022 World Cup final. France are trailing. The whole nation is watching through their fingers. Deschamps turns to his bench and he points at Kolo Muani. A substitute, a young player. The most pressure any footballer can face in a single moment. And Kolo Muani gets the ball. in the box, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. The World Cup is right there. One finish, one moment of composure, and he cannot do it. He missed, but he came back. He showed up again and again for this squad. He carried that miss and kept going. And when he got to Tottenham and the season went wrong, deeply, painfully wrong, he still believed there was a way back. Deschamps closed that door yesterday, permanently. No sentiment, no credit for the past, no reward for what you almost did in 2022. You were not good enough this season, and that is the only thing that matters. I understand the logic, I genuinely do. But there is something almost cold about it that stays with you. Because what Deschamps also did, whether he intended to or not, is send a message to every single player in that squad. Nobody is safe. Nobody is protected by history, not even you. Around Mbappe, though, and this is where France become genuinely frightening, Deschamps has assembled something that feels almost unfair. Ousmane Dembele, Ballon d'Or winner. In this squad. France's second attacker is the best footballer on the planet right now. Then Bradley Barcola, a player defenders simply cannot contain. Michael Olise, unplayable all season at Bayern Munich. Cherki, 21 years old and already doing things on a football pitch that make coaches stop and rewind. Desire Do, Marcus Thuram. An attacking depth that no other nation at this tournament can match. Not even close. You game plan for Mbappe, Dembele destroys you. You game plan for Dembele, Olise is already in behind you. You game plan for Olise, Barcola and Cherki are somewhere on that pitch doing something you did not prepare for. There is no answer to this France attack. None. And every manager going into a potential knockout game against France knows it. But here's the thing that keeps pulling me back. The thing I cannot get out of my head since that announcement. Didier Deschamps will never do this again. This is his last squad, his last 26 names, his last statement to the sport he has given his life to. 13 years as France manager, a World Cup, a final. And now one final shot at something that would make his legacy untouchable forever. He knows it. Every decision he made yesterday, every name picked, every name left behind, was made by a man who understands that there is no next time. No reset. No chance to fix what goes wrong. This is it. And in 4 weeks, we find out if the last chapter of Deschamps' story is the greatest one he ever wrote. So I want to know where you stand right now. Before this tournament starts, before a single ball is kicked. Does France win this World Cup? Or does the pressure of everything I just told you collapse them at the worst possible moment? Tell me in the comments. I want your honest prediction. And I want to come back to this video in July and find out who was right. If you are not subscribed yet, this is the moment. Because the breakdowns, the previews, the deep dives into every squad and every group are coming every single week until that final whistle blows in July. Subscribe now. Hit the bell. Because this World Cup is going to move fast. And you do not want to be catching up. See you in the next one.